Hello, internet fans, and welcome to 3B Video. I'm your host, Rotten Roger DeMarco, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 horror films from 1997. That's right, one more year higher than 1996, and 1 year below 1998.
No shit.
Either way, that's right, 1997. But now, here's that little part where I offer that itty bitty disclaimer. Take it away, Willy Wonka.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal.
The way that I do these rankings is not by which film performed the best in the box office. The way that I do these rankings is just by the amount of fun that I have with each film. So, my list, your list, probably gonna be way different. And you know what? That's absolutely A-okay.
Okay, USA.
Bloodsport reference, deep cut. But with that little disclaimer out of the way, let's get on with the list. Coming in at my number 5 horror film from 1997 is a little Mick Garris film some of you might know about called Quicksilver Highway. Now, admittedly, I am very, very new to this film.
Excuse me. I'm new.
In fact, it was actually my wife who had been talking about this film for years, and we could never figure out what it was. It used to scare the crap out of her and her sister. Well, here's a little brief plot synopsis. You've got Christopher Lloyd playing this sort of wraparound character, telling all of these anthology stories, one of which includes Matt Frewer, whose hand gets possessed, and all the hands in the world start communicating with each other. Straight up Evil Dead 2 style. Until all the hands sever themselves from the bodies and take over the world. And this movie is top to bottom super cheese fun. But if you haven't seen this movie, do yourself a favor, find a copy, check this out, because I am new to this movie, like I said, but I was an instant fan. I love it, and I think that you will too. So it had to make my list. Shout out to my wife for showing me a horror movie I didn't know existed, because that doesn't happen very often, folks. But moving on to my number 4 horror film from 1997 is Scott Reynolds' The Ugly.
Oh my God.
Stop everything you're doing.
Stop! 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 I said stop!
If you don't know about this film, open up another little tab. Make this movie a reality for your collection. Find this movie, get this movie, watch this movie, love this movie. Your brief plot synopsis is, this film is about a serial killer named Simon, who's incarcerated in this mental facility, and he's being interviewed by a female psychologist. So the film is basically him telling these stories, and then it goes into these flashbacks of the murders he committed and why he's in this insane asylum. This is one of those really weird foreign films that caught me off guard in my teenage years, and I couldn't stop talking about it. Anybody that I came across who hadn't seen this movie, I would say, hey, come over, let's sit down, let's watch The Ugly, because man, oh man, is this movie super rad. So if you haven't seen it, please, please, please find a way to watch this movie. And it had to make my list because it has this whole thing about this sympathetic serial killer who's also really, really horrible. So you don't know how to feel. You like him, you don't like him, you feel sorry for him, you want to hug him, but he'll probably stab the shit out of you. But moving on to my number 3 horror film from 1997. It's a mouthful of words, this one. Is Matt Cooper, David Simmel, and Martin Kunert.
I'm sorry, we seem to be having some technical difficulties.
Campfire Tales. This is another film that I thought I was alone in the world of horror fans, because I caught this movie on Stars or Encore at midnight way back in the day. And I used to own this on VHS. And so when it came time to finally upgrade, even way back in the day, I looked this film up on DVD, and it goes for a ridiculous price. So this movie's kind of tough to track down. So if you own it, kudos to you, because sadly, Uncle Roger does not own it in 3B Video, but that does not take away from this film's awesomeness. It's an anthology film, go figure. I love anthologies, and this is the second one on this list. It's very much like urban legend. It's all of these tales that we've all heard a million times. The boyfriend and girlfriend who go out to make out and then the boyfriend leaves to go get gas or whatever, and the girlfriend hears something on the hood of the car. You know, all of those very, very like well-known urban legend tales. Kind of puts a really unique twist on that. It's got Ron Livingston in it from Office Space. Just a really fun anthology film that not a lot of people talk about, and that's a damn shame. So if you haven't seen it, find a way to see it. It's probably on YouTube for free, even though I don't condone that sort of thing, but just watch it. Find a way to buy it. It kicks ass, and you will not be disappointed, I promise you.
Ain't that right? You ain't lying. That's right.
But moving on to my number 2 horror film from 1997, Luis Losa's Anaconda. I reviewed that.
I love this movie.
What's not to love about this creature feature? You've got some really, really good practical effects when it comes to the actual animatronic snake. Sure, the CGI aged a little roughly, but you've got Ice Cube. You've got John Voight doing all of his creepy, staring John Voight faces that he does all the time in this movie, just staring at people. Owen Wilson.
Wow, you're in good company.
Discount Marty McFly, Eric Stoltz. Jennifer Lopez, before she became J-Lo bitches. Danny Trejo. Leaving anybody out? This fucking cast is phenomenal. This movie gets shit on a lot. It won like Razzie Awards for the worst acting, blah, 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 but I don't care. I saw this movie in theaters when I was a kid, and it has always been fun to me. I remember leaving the theater going, that was a blast. And mixed amongst me and my buddies were people going, Jesus, what a pile of trash, and blah, blah, blah. You know, so I knew at a very early age that I was different. And then I started getting hair in really weird places. I mean, no, sorry, wrong story. But I love this movie. You should love this movie. It rules. But moving on to my number 1 horror film from 1997, because yes, there can be only one. It's another movie that I absolutely love, that I will fist fight the masses who don't like this film. Line them up, I'll knock them down one at a time. Let's go.
Shut your fucking mouth! Shut the fuck up, you cunt! Shut it!
The man, the myth, the legend, Robert Kurtzman's Wishmaster. Make your wishes. The first of the franchise is the king, hands down. This movie created a horror icon that sadly, the sequels could not live up to. This icon deserved better treatment. This icon could have been the new face of horror. Instead, we got lackluster sequel after lackluster sequel after lackluster sequel. But that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the original Wishmaster. And don't you ever let me catch you saying an unkind word about the original Wishmaster. You don't do it.
But you don't say that.
This film is filled with the who's who of horror royalty. Tony Todd, Kane Hodder, Robert Englund, Ted Raimi, Reggie Bannister, Buck Flower, Andrew Divoff as the Djinn himself. That's right, Mr. Toy Soldiers himself. And I know what you're thinking. Andrew Divoff wasn't in that movie with Tommy Lee Jones and all the toys that went and came to life and killed everybody and all that hoopla. That's the wrong movie. That's Small Soldiers. Toy Soldiers, oddly enough, doesn't have anything to do with goddamn toys. It's Die Hard in a school. But either way, that's besides the point. Andrew Divoff is the man. And if you have not seen the original Wishmaster, you're doing something wrong. You gotta, again, open up another window. Uncle Roger wouldn't steer you wrong. This movie's a blast. You've got the Wishmaster running around, twisting everybody's words and giving them the wishes that they didn't really ask for and killing them in really, really unique ways. It's a super, super fun movie that was right around that time where CGI was kind of taking over, and Robert Kurtzman said, hey, hold up, let me create an icon, let me mix practical and CGI all together, and let's prove that practical can hang right along with this CGI bullshit. And as a result, the practical effects have aged wonderfully, and the CGI looks like shit. But this movie, as a whole, is fantastic. So if you haven't seen it, I wish that you would. See what I did there? I wish that you would watch The Wishmaster. But either way, those are my top 5 horror films from 1997. So let me know yours down there. But I suppose I should probably get going, because after all, there's a lot of movies out there. Somebody's got to watch them. So why not me? right?
Don't tell me how to run my business. You're a fucking bum.
You don't tell me how to run my life. You're a fucking prick. I'll talk to anybody I want to. You don't own this fucking sidewalk. Fuck you. Die, sack of shit. I hope you die, and I hope you float down the gutters so I can fucking piss on you. Just like it after first the Chinese